Hey everybody, it's Commander Clay. Welcome back to another patch notes update video. We got the Slipknot 9.5 update notes today. Corey and the boys up here. And along with this, we got some new events and adventures coming to the game for this update. Plus the biggest shift in the game that we have seen in years, which we will get to a little bit later. Of course, are all the skins for you at the Slipknot event. For Poseidon, we've got Craig Jones, Sid Wilson, and Corey Taylor, the man himself. And then for Raijin, we've got Jay Weinberg, of course, the Clown, and Michael Fav. And then for all your string players, here we got, for Chalk, we've got Alessandro Venturella, Jim Root, and Mick Thompson. They're the boys for you. Taking a look at those, we're not really going to talk about the other ones, as I typically don't talk about skins very much. But there they are for you. New skins also coming with that. And then the bonus stuff down here. Schedule May 17th for the Slipknot update, plus events and things. Then 31st is 9.5 bonus. Then June 2nd is our happy little painter, Jean Kui. Available through Prime Gaming. And then the first adventure is Smite Night, featuring classic Conquest, and by that we mean closed beta, way back in 2012. But first, the way this event will work, this is a one-day only game mode that opens up once a week. Get your friends together to play Smite on this special night to earn bonus rewards and play new modes. Smite Night will occur on Saturdays and last for 24 hours, so the first one should be May the 21st. And here's the rewards. You get 2 quests. Weekly quests do not carry over and must be completed on that Smite Night, even though it lasts for the entire day. So don't think there's specific hours you need to be on. You just need to be on Saturday. Each monthly update, players will have 2 milestone quests that will last the duration of the patch. Players must click Start within the Limited tab on the main menu in order to earn rewards and earn progress towards the Smite Night quests. To earn all the rewards, players should participate and complete all Smite Night weekly quests. There will be leaderboards for the event tab here. Classic Conquest. We'll talk about the map in a second. It's back and it was only available to PC players during closed beta. We aim to preserve as much as possible the rules and pacing of the original map. Be the same, the original environment and art in all of its low textured glory back in those days. The app will only be available on the first and third Smite nights. It will also be available in customs, but only after the first official Smite night. Fire Giant has a different set of attacks and an enclosed arena once you start it, which means once you start it, you cannot escape. You have to kill him or die. And then you have jungle buff camps on the side lanes. We'll talk about that. And they are not symmetrical, so you don't have the same buffs and the same spots on the same side. They're actually mirrored. Or not mirrored, they're flipped. And you have health and mana buffs as the safe buffs. Other team will have speed and protections as their safe buffs. Damage buff is contested. Both mid laners get a cooldown buff, and it's only cooldown. That's all it does. Generally, this map is played with 2 different duo lanes instead of a dedicated jungler, and it's super weird. And I guess that meta could come back, but do what you want, I guess. All jungle buffs spawn at 10 seconds. Players can have multiple buffs up to all 6 because there was no cap back then. Green buff gives you 50 HP 5, red buff 5 in physical power, 10 magical power, 20% magical physical power. Yellow buff protections provides 35 of each. Orange buff speed provides 20% movement. Blue buff mana provides 25 MP5. Then gray buff cooldown with 10% CDR. The icon will be an XP camp icon, since there are no XP camps on this map. And then here it is. All of its thickness. Look at that wide boy. Then of course it's flipped. So on this side, speed, protection, damage, health, blue. And then health, blue, damage, prots, and speed. And then your cooldown buffs are in these little corners here. Gold Fury, Fire Giant in their typical spots. On the base, there is a lot less space between, I believe, between the Phoenixes. So it's a very different base area here than the current maps. And then there's the only screenshot of the map we have available. And you can see how low the textures are. It's very funny. Anyway, this is how it's going to break down. Monthly update, milestone rewards, new cosmic splash level up, Smite Night skins. Week 1, Classic Conquest. Your rewards are welcome to Smite Night, loading screen, Heavenly Light Chest. Week 2, all / duplicate gods allowed, infinite mana, 20% CDR starting, up to 60%. Reward Smite Night avatar, pick your own god chest. Week 3, back to Classic Conquest. Rewards are Smite Night emote chest, Smite Night cosmetic chest. Week 4, 5v5 Season 9 Conquest. You must queue with a complete party of 5 in order to play. You'll get 3-day account booster and the Smite Night voice pack chest. And Slipknot Boys Slipknot event. The event takes the form of a single chest with all Slipknot skins and cosmetic bundles contained within. Unlocking chests will earn progress towards a choice chest roll where players can select any item from the chest. After 3 rolls, your 4th will be the chest choice. All skins in the chest will also be available for direct purchase. They will be discounted for the first 2 weeks. Unlock any 3 Slipknot items and you will get the music theme. Important to note, it'll be like some of the past adventures where you go through, probably going through a map and you're squatting up as the Slipknot band members to battle against the Smite gods. Then all our skins here, and then our additional cosmetic rewards, which is a jump stamp level up, loading avatar, loading screen, avatar, recall skin, maggot title, and then the Slipknot music theme. And then the new Battle Pass, new pick your own Battle Pass skin. We'll not talk about the paid things. We will skip to the important thing, which is the pick your own Battle Pass skin chest. It's just a receipt from gaining levels in the Blast from the Past Battle Pass. They will show up Player Rewards Center. You click the claim button, you'll be given the option to choose one item from any of the chest contents. So you get to pick. These chests contain skins from every Battle Pass before 2022. That was not a crossover. And those Battle Passes were Too Hot for You, Darkness Falls, New Olympia, Sweet Victory, Pirate Queens, Enchanted Chronicles, Lightbringers, Final Boss, Necropolis, Most Wanted, Heroes of the Wild, Cleanliness versus Godliness, and does not include the crossovers of RWBY, Avatar, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Monster Cat, Stranger Things, and Transformers. You can also choose 100 gems if it does not have something you want or if you already own the content in the chest. Okay. And there's also a cosmetic version of that. Quality of life stuff. This is important. Battle Pass XP can now be purchased for favor. So if you have a bunch of favors saved up because you have all the gods, or you don't want to spend it all on the golden legendary diamonds, got something for you there. And then stuff here, not going to read all this, but they made it so you don't have to click as many times to actually buy relics and glyph. If you go to the tier 1, you just click on it and you buy it. It doesn't bring up the other ones. You don't have to bring it up to do all the other purchasing. You can also get directly to the upgrade that you want by typing it in the search. And then the audio stuff, I'm not going to read. Skip that. Bugs, I don't read this usually because it's a bunch of things that aren't really that big of a deal. Okay, there is a new conquest map coming called Knight's Keep, which I imagine will be a castle themed thing. Medieval, There will be, the primary goals of the upcoming changes here with Conquest are to reduce the snowball effect of the game. First thing is first obelisk changes. They now active at 6 minutes and inactive for 6 minutes as opposed to 4. Offerings can only be picked up by the team that had the last hit on the camp. While they're active, the jungle becomes shrouded in patches of mist, which stealths players standing within them. During each round of activation, the mist area will contain a lost knight that drops an offering when slain. When one team fills their obelisk, each team is awarded 10 XP and 10 gold, as opposed to 15 in the past. Team that completely fills it gets an empowered trebuchet, which that also provides a defensive buff over to all nearby allies in this radius, so it is different from has a different effect from Indra's Scepter, which we'll read about. Trying to do this quickly because I tried to record this video earlier and sat there for 30 minutes and then realized I didn't have the window capture recording. So there was nothing. So I'm trying to get through this faster so I don't blow out my voice having to do it a second time. Anyway, trebuchet. Oh, I forgot to add the aura is 15 protections of each within 30 feet. Spawns near a friendly phoenix in the lane of the healthiest highest number of enemy structures alive. The first time a friendly god walks within 30 feet, it will spawn 2 escort minions and push the lane. The trebuchet will continue to push as long as there's an ally in its radius. If an enemy enters, it will stop attacking until it's gone. Trebuchets launch flaming boulders at structures and minions from long range, from 100 feet maximum range with a 30-foot minimum. Each launch consumes 5% of its HP. Its base stats are 1700 health, 50 physical protections, 10 magical protections, so it's a weak to magical things, which is typical. Things always have less magical protection base usually. And 300 physical power because it's hitting towers, obviously. And every 3 minutes that will go, its base health will go up by 300. The jungle, some big changes. Mostly buffs to minions. But overall XP and gold has not changed significantly. Important to note, reducing more snowball and making the jungle more threatening was the goal here. But to that end, the back harpy spawns have been delayed from 15 to 30 seconds at the start of the match. All buff camps now spawn at 10 seconds. All buff camps now spawn 3 minis on the initial spawn with the center monster dropping the buff. That mini has plus 10 base XP. Except the mana camp, which I guess it doesn't have that. And it doesn't have the base health increase. Maybe that's what that means. Better to balance. I think they're balancing that around the start, which is you're by yourself. It's the only starting camp where you're by yourself. Isn't to ensure quick clear speed for all rolls at their starting camps, with the camp reward modified to allow rolls to hit level 2 at the end of the first wave, as opposed to the first 2 minions or whatever. First 2 or 3, I don't remember precisely. After the first spawn, It will spawn a stronger buff holder for the rest of the match. Respawn timers. Mid lane and duo lane harpies have had their respawns delayed from 120 to 150 total seconds. Mid harpies are blue, duo harpies are gold. Duo lane side XP camps been delayed from 120 to 180, as have the solo ones. The ones on the solo side, they are now changed to Nagas to be more consistent with the map design. Back harpy camp has been removed, and instead the support buff camp has now been consolidated into it, and now spawns one buff elder harpy into standard harpies. These harpies have been recolored green and respawn in 120 seconds. Lane minion swordsman increased base health from 420 to 650, added 8 base physical protection, added 4 base magical protection, making clear a little bit tougher, but their attack speed has been decreased by 0.1 seconds. Archers have not have their health changed, but have had protections added, but they have less scaling against structures now. Brutes, 4 base magical protection. Yep, that's it. And then Fiery Swordsman increased base health from 630 to 780. Same thing on attack speed. Minions are tougher, take longer to kill, but they do not do more damage. And we will get into why this is important later. Anyway, buff camps. Here's the red buff holder after the first spawn. By the way, increased base health 450 to 850, increased physical protection from 9 to 20, increased magic protection from 2 to 16, increased physical power from 15 to 24. This is starting to bother my throat a little bit. So we may have to speed this up and skip some things. Red buff cards, they're weaker. I guess so. The first one is weaker too. Is a little bit stronger, but still not too much. Okay. And as you can see in the blue buff side, it has gotten less of a buff. And its physical protection actually decreased. Do a little bit more damage, but their protections are decreased, so that levels it out a little bit. Scaling on XP and gold's a little bit lower, but you can make that up elsewhere. And the blue buff guards got the same nerf as the other ones. Yellow buff has gotten a total buff, but again, less physical protection. Scaling has been slightly reduced. And then yellow buff guard, same thing. Yeah, most of this is just everybody's had their health and prots increased for the most part, depending on what camp it is. It might have its physical protection decreased. So it's not so overwhelming for a buff that tends to be cleared by a person solo. And then the guards are a little bit weaker. So there you go. We're not going to read all this because this is going to wear out my throat, and I don't think I can take it. Anyway, towers, tier 2 and tier 1 tower have both had their power scaling versus minions and gods increase from 110 to 135 and 30% penetration on attacks. I've also had more base health. Tier 1 1750 to 2100, tier 2 2800 to 3000, and decrease the gold reward on those. Phoenix has had that same treatment on its attacks. Base health is 3000 to 3600. Titan now has increased base health from 8,000 to 12,500. Big numbies. Titan increased health gain per tower. 500 to 750. Increased health gain per Phoenix from 1500 to 2250. Gold Fury has been buffed and now does magical damage instead of physical damage on its, you know, extra moves. Its plain physical attacks, melee attacks it does will still be the same. Will still deal the physical damage. It will be the same. Increase health on this. Increase health on this, the same thing on this guy too, with a little bit more magical power because it does slightly more damage. And then the only difference with the Oni Fury is its base team goal reward has been decreased from 115 to 90. Pyromancer, same kind of treatment, extra health, now has magical power since it now does magical damage. You can now refresh the effect of its buff by walking across your base gate switches. And Fire Giant has gotten 1 more physical and magical power per minute scaling. So he's not that much stronger. I don't know why they have this separately here because they already show him up there. Oh, this is for other modes again. I'm sorry. Yeah, so same treatment there, / getting buff things. I'm not going to read all those. It's all basically the same. Terror Shield, decreased physical power. Berserker Shield, decreased physical power, decreased physical protections. Some people are going to be mad about these, but they're hybrid items, and hybrid items shouldn't give you too many stats, which a lot of these do. Berserker Shield does, objectively. Shifter Shield, not so much, but you're not seeing it built as much. Bad Shield, decreased physical power from 25 to 20, decreased prots on Void Shield, 45 to 35, decreased physical power on Runic Shield, 35 to 30, decreased physical power Ancile, 40 to 35, Kadushi Shield, decreased physical power, 25 to 20, Frostbite Hammer, decreased physical power, 35 to 25, Forged Hammer, decreased physical power from 35 to 30, which at one point they think the first version of Runeforged Hammer, when this item was brand new, had 30. Was it 40? I don't remember. The Sledge decreased physical power from 40 to 35. Blackthorn Hammer decreased physical power from 30 to 25. Celestial Legion Helm decreased magical power from 70 to 55. Decreased physical protections from 60 to 50. Jade Emperor's Crown decreased magical power from 40 to 30. Decreased health from 350 to 300. Tyrannical Plate Helm decreased magical power from 85 to 70. Void Stone decreased health from 250 to 200. Decreased magical protection from 60 to 50. Stone of Foul decreased health from 200 to 150. Stone of Binding, one of the strongest items in the game and has been since its release. Finally getting nerfed. Decreased magical power from 30 to 25. And decreased magical and physical procs from 35 to 30. Tier 2% pen items now have 5% physical pen. And then the big elephant in the room is down here. The time to kill changes. Big stuff. All gods will be receiving the following changes. Decreased base HP by 40%. And decreased base HP per level by 5%. So it will be scaling up. But the total scaling doesn't mean that every god's just going to be 40% tankier. It's not how the scaling, that's not how scaling works. Anyway, increased base physical protection from 40 by 40%, increased physical protection per level by 8%, decreased base magical protection by 28, increased base magical protection by 28, and protection per level by 28%. And these are different because the math of it being 28% on both makes sure it has the same discrepancy between physical protection gain that currently exists. So nothing's out of whack. Some people aren't like this, but their logic is we didn't see enough of the effect we wanted in 9.4, so it makes more sense just to make everything tankier and then to go through item by item and ability by ability and trying to adjust everything and nerf it easier to just do blanket thing to afford that. This is why all the jungle camps minions were getting buffs because if you're going to be tankier, they need to be tankier. They also overall are intended to be more threatening now because that was the point. Minions and jungle camps were always never that threatening. You didn't have to play around it. So now it works more like a MOBA, basically, where jungle and minions are important and you can't just run straight at them. Although it's important to note, most of them don't deal more damage, and you take less damage, and you have more health and protection, so it's not really a big deal, which is why you saw such limited changes on the blue buff, because you're by yourself most of the time. So they want it to be fair, not be a huge discrepancy between roles. Apparently, Haddix was complaining about it takes too long to clear now. It's going to be, but I don't agree with him. He's not considering the fact that changes to the blue buff were intentionally limited compared to the rest of the camps. He's not considering the fact you're tankier, so it might take you longer to clear, but you're still not going to take more damage, really. And it's also not a big deal because since the buff's going to spawn a little bit sooner now, you'll get to the wave on time and be okay. But now it's like you have to actually focus on clearing the wave. You can't be Osiris and just throw your one and kill somebody at level 1. Which is funny, but it's not healthy to have. Anyway, and here's a bunch of numbers of how it breaks down, level 1 to level 20, but they doesn't really matter. Anything you want to look at on this, don't base it on numbers, base on how it feels when you actually play it. And we'll see, here's a bunch of things about their logic and stuff, blah, blah, blah. Not necessary to do that. So I can basically summarize it in what I just said. I also did read this beforehand. But I think it's always, people see new stuff. It's kind of a stupid dichotomy with this game. People complain that the game's boring and stale. You die too quickly from mages. XYZ, they do a big change like this, people get mad still. There's not anything you can do to make people happy. I mean, you know, I played this game for 9 years, and I think this is a good change because it's something different. It's a different game experience. And I think it does address the issues people were complaining about earlier this year. So, you know, there you go. And with that, let's go to the God changes with Loki. Loki's life has been removed as an audio cue on Vanish due to its inconsistency in volume and duration between skins. Which is there were some skins he barely did anything. Oh, there were some skins he did way too much and you knew where he was all the time. And now we'll have a single audio cue that will be consistent across skins with some slight adjustments depending on the theme. Surcat getting a buff. Third basic attack now cleaves. Cobra's Kiss decreased cooldown from 16 to 14. Last breath decreased pre-fire animation time from 0.2 to 0.1 seconds. That rework, or that slight rework to make her a little bit less of a support and more of a jungler. I guess it did not have the effect she had, and people haven't really been playing her. And she probably didn't perform well, so helping her out. Let's see, Thor increased stun duration on Tectonic Rift from 1 to 1.6 to 1.2 to 1.6. A little bit better early, and it's a more even number increase, so it's 0.1 every level instead of 0.15. Which is weird. Anvil of Dawn increased base damage from 100 to 300 to 100 to 360. Xbalanque Rising Jaguar increased poison bonus damage from 30% to 40%. Those in the old days remember the ability combo being particularly potent, so I guess they want that back. A little bit. Rom, infinite arrows, decreased mana cost from 60 to 80 to 40 to 60, increased attack speed from 30 to 50% to 40 to 60%, underperforming man, I guess. Rolling Assault, decrease mana cost from 70 to 90 to 50 to 70. That will feel much better. Neja, Righteous Spirit, increase the time before or losing passive stacks from 10 to 12 seconds. When fire wheels, increase protections gained after landing from 20 to 40 to 30 to 50, because this god is horrifically underperforming in Conquest. Hercules, decrease cooldown on Earthbreaker from 14 seconds, now scaling down from 14 to 12. Terra Force of Nature, decrease cooldown from 15 to 13 seconds. Monolith, decrease mana cost from 60 to 100 to 60 to 80. Sylvanas, Nature's Bounty, increase cooldown reduction provided by picking up seeds from 0.25 to 0.5 seconds. Ooh. Baba Yaga, decrease cooldown from 14 seconds to 12 seconds. Pele Pyroclast increases the power scaling from 60 to 70. I don't know if that's going to bring her back into the meta. Probably doesn't. But it's a good try. ESET getting a little bit of a nerf. Decreased magical protection. Debuff from 10 to 30% to 10 to 20. This god's been pretty strong in 2 roles. Sometimes 3 depending on who's playing it in jungle. But mostly 2. Gilgamesh continuing nerfs because they cannot seem to get this guy in a controlled spot. Dropkick, decreased physical power scaling of kick to 40 to 30, and scaling of burst damage from 40 to 30. Heroes advanced, decreased movement speed from 25 up to 35%. What? To 25%? That's weird. Why was it so high? RDO performing big right now. Decreased max stacks of decompose from 8 to 6. Energy Surge and Maul Parade, increased cooldown of both forms from 12 to 15 to 13 seconds, slowing her down a lot. No more RDO spammers. And then decreased base damage of Maul Parade from 40 to 160 to 35 to 155 per hit. Kalina, Daring the Veil, increased cooldown from 50 to 60 per charge, because that ability... It's kind of strong from that. Decreased base rift damage from 80 to 250 to 60 to 200 per tick. And finally, Mr. Zeus performing a little too well. Chain Lightning has its cooldown increased from 10 to 12 seconds, and Aegis Assault decreased movement speed from 20 to 30% to 15 to 25. With attack speed decreased from 20 to 40 to 15 to 35. And then thanking our voice actors for lending their talent for this update as usual. Unfortunately, the only person lending their voice to the Slipknot skins was Alessandro. The rest are impressions, which is fair. I mean, you can't expect all 9 of these guys to have time to come in and do a voice session. For that, especially Corey, he's very busy since he's got that and his solo project to deal with right now. So, a little bit disappointing, but, you know, can't expect them. I don't know how they're going to do voice lines on these guys because some of them, I mean, the only person you hear perform is Corey, like, because he's the vocalist. So don't really know what the rest of the guys sound like. But anyway, there it is, back to the top. Hope you guys enjoyed that. Leave your thoughts about the big update if you want. Positive and negative feedback is always great. Doesn't matter how you feel, but leave it below, because everyone's going to have an opinion on it, and I'd like to hear them. Anyway, like and subscribe if you guys enjoyed that. Leave a comment down below as usual, and as always, I'll see you guys next time for some more Smite. Have a good one.